So basically, in this video, I've got some hair products on the table, and I'm just going to quickly review all these hair products. But first, I'll just say that I'm not going to show you what it looks like in my hair. I'm not going to actually do like a hairstyling video or anything, because that would take too long to test all these products. That would be like a week-long video. Instead, what I've actually done is I've already tested all of these, like over the last week or two. I've already tested all of these, and I've written down notes on my computer. So I'll just basically tell you which product's the best, because that's what you want to know, right? You just want to know which product to use is the best. So firstly, I will rate these based on certain criteria. The criteria being the hold, the finish, maybe the container size, the texture, and whether or not it's got a matte finish or shine to it, and basically if it is actually a clay or a paste, you know, that kind of goes on the texture. The smell, how easy it washes out, and maybe the cost and availability doesn't really matter too much. But firstly, we've got Savage Muck, Drymark, we've got Hardmark. So 3 different types of muck here, which are like quite a popular brand over here. Then we got Uppercut Clay. This is just a deluxe clay because I couldn't get the matte clay. This is American Crew Matte Clay. This is the Foucault Clay, which I'll take out the box. The Foucault Clay. We got Rockstar Hard Matte Clay, or Hard Matte Rock Clay, or whatever it's called. Then we've got V05 Matte Clay, and then Linx Styling Matte. So I'll just say I've already filmed this exact video before, and the previous video I made a mistake, and I put V05 like quite up the top, and then I retested the V05 a second time, and it wasn't as good as I thought originally. So the V05 has actually been reformulated, and the new formulation is worse than the original, because they had an old original version of this, and it was more thick. It had a better clay texture, a better hold, and a better matte finish. Basically, the new formula it smells better, and it's got a better looking package, but overall the performance of this is worse than the original used to be. I might put a picture up of the original so you can see, but basically, yeah, we'll start with V05 Matte Clay. This is the V05 Matte Clay tin. A new look. Open it up, there's no protective layer casing on there, but you see one of my hairs in there because I have used it. So first thing you notice, yeah, no protective casing layer to stop it drying out, but it does look like a nice clay texture, right? So what we do is we do something called the tap test, which I've already done in a previous video. I'll try to do it on the other side. So the tap test. I mean, it's got quite a firm texture to it already. You already know that it's got a decent clay texture. The smell is really nice. I do like the smell of this. So how does it perform? This actually does perform okay, but not the best. In my other video, I said it was way better than it actually is. So it doesn't have the best hold. And even though it says it's got a matte finish, it's not really the best matte finish of this. It's kind of has a little bit of shine, not the best hold, where the original was thicker, had a better hold, and a better matte finish. So this, overall, quality has gotten worse, but I still think it's kind of like maybe top 5-ish here, so we'll see. But basically I'll just stack these all up for now, just so we can kind of get an idea to see the ranking, and I'll just layer them down here so you can see the order of what's the best. So first we'll go matte clay just down the bottom here, like that. Okay, so now secondly, we'll go with hands to Foucault Clay Motion, right? The container of hands to Foucault is plastic with looks like a metalish lid, but it feels like plastic to me. Oh no, it is tin. It is a tin lid. The texture looks more pasty when you see it like this, right? Smell is neutral. It doesn't really have a smell to it. I've seen in videos this look like an actual paste, where after testing this I could say it's not really a paste. See how solid this is? It is quite actual solid. It's not like you can just put your hand into it. Okay, so how does this perform? The hold and everything, right? So the smell is neutral, doesn't really have much of a smell, but the performance really surprised me because this has one of the best finish and actually has a very good hold to it. It's not the best hold here, but it is a very good hold. And the texture was thicker than I thought too. So this is like an actual clay, but it's got some beeswax mixed in there. It's the only one here that's got two types of clay, which is bentonite and kaolin. And it does have the beeswax in there, so that might be where the weird texture is coming from. But it's almost like a petroleum jelly kind of feel on the skin, where it's a little bit hydrophobic, and when you're washing it out, your hair and your hands, it just feels like it's a little bit more water resistant than the other ones here. So very unique original product. It's probably the most original one here because it's got the beeswax and two types of clay. But the finish is very matte. Only problem I can fault with this is it's got a very small container, and you're going to actually need to use quite a bit of this in your hair. So the container's not going to last for very long, and I just wish it had a better container. But besides that, I'm going to say it's better than the V05 Matte Clay. Now, American Crew Matte Clay. This is the American Crew Matte Clay tin, or I should say plastic container. As you can see, it looks like clay at first. You can see I've already done the tap test with this in my other video. Smell is amazing. A nice lemony smell to it. So let's do tap test like over here maybe. Yeah, see how soft that is? And my OCD doesn't like messing all that up. This is already much softer texture. It's not a very hard clay. It is matte finish, but the hold of this is not good at all. So it doesn't have a very good hold, but the finish is quite nice. I do like it. Not the best matte finish here. Smells good. Container is pretty small. It's about the exact same size as the V05 container. Even though it looks bigger from the side like that, they are actually both 85 grams. Yeah, performance of this is not the best. Smells nice, but it's too pasty. The texture is too thin. It's more of a paste, and I don't consider this a clay. Even though it's got clay in it, I don't consider this to be a clay texture because it's more of a paste. So if you want something very thin, you can go with this, but overall it's not that good. It doesn't live up to the hype on the internet. People definitely make this seem better than it is, so I'm kind of struggling to see if it's better than the V05 or not, because I think they kind of perform about equal. I'm just going to say V05 is cheaper and more easily available. This is one of the only ones you can get at Woolworths and Coles, so your regular grocery store. This one's a little bit harder to find, and in terms of performance, I think they're about equal but I'll put the V05 in front of the American Crew just because this is more easily available at the grocery store, and yeah, I think the hold of the V05 might be a little better, but not that much better. So next is Uppercut. The Uppercut Clay. Here's the metal tin of Uppercut. So this actually does come with a protective layer on top, which is nice to keep it fresh. And it just pulls off like this, and it also just fits in the lid nicely like that. It does have a beautiful clay texture, beautiful smell. I do like the color of this. So what we do is the tap test, which I've already done before, but we'll show you again. Oh yeah, that is easily the most rock hard, solid one here. And I love that because it is a clay texture. And you always want something thick with a hair clay. And the Uppercut is definitely thick. The only problem is it's not matte finish. It does say it's got low shine to it, but it has a great hold, low shine, great hold, great texture. I like it thick rather than pasty. Smells good, really good size container. It's metal, it's got the protective casing on it, but I don't think the finish is better than Hans de Foucault, honestly. I think the hold is better, but the finish isn't, and I think this does both great. So I'm going to say Hans de Foucault is better than the Uppercut for now, but the Uppercut is still better than the V05. So for now, we're kind of putting that in. Yeah, we'll go the top 3 for now, and then we'll change it around a bit. So the next is Savage Muck. Here's the Savage Muck, also a metal tin, which I do like. This has got a nice foil protective casing. This also comes with this, I'm not sure if this is for discounts or if it's a social media thing, but it has that in the lid, which is just a bonus. I'm not sure if it's actually for anything, so I've never used it. But immediately, this is brown, a weird brown color, almost purple if you look in the right light. Smell is just amazing, and this is actually clay texture, but tap test, also nice and hard, but not as hard as the Uppercut. So, how does the Savage Muck actually perform? And let's tell you a little bit more about it. The Savage Muck has probably the best or second best finish here. I think it might be equal with the Hans de Foucault. They're both matte finish actually. This says semi-matte finish, even though it is very matte. So don't be fooled because it says semi-matte, it is a matte finish. The hold of this is better than Hans de Foucault, but they have about the same finish. Bigger container, smells better. And I'm going to say the hold is better than Hans de Foucault, so for now I would put that in first place just because it's got a better hold, better finish. But the thing is, that doesn't say it's got any clay in it, so it's not technically a clay, but to me that is the perfect clay texture. It feels like clay, it acts like clay, the texture of it's just perfect. So I would consider that to be a clay, even though it's not. And it is matte finish, so yeah, you can look at that. The next is Drymark. This is what Drymark looks like. Same as the other kind of tin. It's orange instead of grey or black. So open it up. Also got this little thing inside with protective foil. This is like a white creamy color. The smell is amazing. Like all the mucks, they always smell great. Tap test. Yeah, it is also solid. It's not too pasty when you tap it. But here's the thing, right? This is not a clay either. Well, I think it is a clay, but it's not a clay texture. I think it does maybe have clay in it, but to me this is more of a paste. So when you actually put it in your hands and you rub it in your fingers, it's very pasty and thin. And even though the tap test was kind of solid, when you put it in your hands it's really thin and it's more of a paste than a clay. But it's not quite as soft as the American Crew, you know. So how does this perform? This has got the most matte finish here, and I said that about Savage Muck, but I do think this has got a more matte finish than a Savage Muck. So this is easily the most matte product here, the Drymark, and it does say ultra matte. So this is ultra matte and this is semi matte. So there's no shine with the Drymark. And this has got quite a good hold to it as well. Not as good as the Uppercut or the Savage Muck, but the hold is maybe about equal with Hans de Foucault, but the finish is better than Hans de Foucault. So I'm not sure which one I'd put in front. I'd say this holds better and has a better finish than that. But there's something about this that I don't like, right? So this, when you put it in your fingers, I forgot to mention this, it's very dry, right? This is so dry in your hands and it almost becomes sticky. And when you try to rub it in your hair, it's like your fingers get stuck inside your hair. It's really hard to explain, but if you have long hair like me, your fingers are gonna be stuck in your hair because it's just dry. It's like bubble gum. Have you ever had bubble gum stuck in your hair? It's like trying to pull it out. That's what this Drymark's like in your hair, because it says it's ultra matte and it's just got this very dry feeling. Like when you put it in your hair, it's so dry. It's really hard to actually style your hair with it. So you find yourself needing to actually put twice as much on your hands just so it's more easily to spread around. You can spread it in your hair easier. But if you don't care about that, all the rest is good. The hold's good, the finish is good, the container's nice, the smell's good. It is easy to wash out. But because of that dryness that makes it super hard to style your hair, I'm going to still say Savage Muck is better, and I'm still going to say the Hans de Foucault is better, because this is still easier to put in your hair, right? So, for now, do I think it's better than Uppercut Clay? I think the Uppercut has a better hold than this, but I think this has a better finish than Uppercut. But in terms of what does both better, I think Uppercut is well rounded enough to kind of be better than this, which I'm not going to say that, but I favour hold a little bit more than the finish. You may prefer the finish. This is low shine and this is matte, but I do think that I want something that's going to hold a little better, and this has still got a nice finish to it. And this is easier to actually put in your hair, despite being really thick. It is easier than this to put in your hair. And yeah, something else to consider is if you have dry hair, you may want that extra shine that actually does come from this. So matte finish isn't always the best. Sometimes you want a little bit of shine in your hair. So these could technically be about equal, but I still think the Uppercut is better. But they do different things better than each other. So I mean, just because this is a better clay texture as well, when I think of a clay, this is actually what clay looks and feels like and acts like. And that's just a little bit too pasty for me. So the next is Linx. Next is Linx Styling Mud. Open this up and you can already see this is very wet, moist, and it's extremely soft. But it smells like a typical hair product, something a hair product you would imagine would smell like, very synthetic and chemical smelling. So, tap test. I don't need to tap this hard to show you, but You see how soft that is? Yeah. It's already a paste. It's not a clay. So first impressions of the Linx styling mud. It's too soft, it's not a clay, it's a paste. And I don't think it's a matte finish, but it is natural look. So I've used this, and to me it did look like it had a nice matte finish to it, maybe with a little bit of shine in there. But the hold of this was so bad, it didn't hold at all. The finish wasn't better than any of these other products here. Except for maybe like something with more shine in it, like the Hardmark. But the finish was okay, not better than the others. The hold was the worst here, easily the worst holding one. Texture, easily the worst. It's too soft, it's too pasty. Smell is nice, but that doesn't matter too much, the smell. Container is 75 grams, so it might be one of the smaller containers here. It's still bigger than the Hans of the Foucault, but it's probably the second smallest container. And yeah, I can't say much more besides this, unless you want something nice to put in your hair just to take the frizz out of it and the dryness out of it, then this is good. Don't expect this to hold your hairstyle, but if you want something that's just going to make your hair look a little bit nicer when it's dry, you can use this, but I don't recommend it. So next is Rockstar. Rockstar Hard Matte Matte Clay, or whatever that says right there. Okay, so first impression, metal tin. I actually like this packaging a lot. Simple, black. It is the biggest container here, as you can see as well. Smells delicious, like edible fudge, that fudge hair product stuff. Smells edible. You can also see with the tap test, I've already done tap test. We'll go other side. Boom, 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 boom. Very soft, a little bit too pasty for my liking. So, performance of this, it does have a nice matte finish. Not the most matte hair product here, but it is kind of a matte finish. The hold of this is really bad though. It's not better than the other ones. The matte finish is nice. It's more matte than the Uppercut, or actually I'm not sure if it is about the Uppercut. I'd say it does have a matte finish, but it's also not better than the other products here, okay? And the hold is not better either, so it's kind of equivalent to the American Crew, but the hold is not as great. So this is a little bit thicker, this is a little bit softer, or they might even be the exact same consistency. This has a bigger container, but I still think American Crew just has the edge by like the tiniest bit, just when it comes to hold and finish and texture and everything like that. And this is not so great. Yeah. So the last hair product here, I've got to try to be quick because my camera hasn't got much battery left, is Hardmark. What Hardmark looks like. Okay, I will just say the packaging of this. They've changed the packet, so it's now black tin instead of silver tin. It used to be in the same kind of tin as this, but red. Okay, so we open this up. It does have the protective foil. I have used this quite a bit because this is my favorite one of all time. And you can see I've done the tap test quite a bit in this. Smell is delicious. But I'll actually open another tin so I can show you the texture properly. So what we got here is a backup tin that I haven't actually opened yet, but I'll show you just for the video. Yeah, and you can see they've sealed this really nicely with this foil on top. And when you open it, that's what it looks like when you first open it, okay? Way different than the other one I showed you. So tap test. Alright, this is really great. The best consistency here out of all of them. It's like clay texture, but it's a little bit softer than Uppercut. But here's the thing, right? They have actually reformulated Hardmark. It used to be almost exact same identical to Uppercut. So it used to be really hard and thick, and since they reformulated it, they made it a little bit softer and easier to spread in your hands, and they changed the packet. But the performance never changed though. The performance is just as good. It does have the best hold out of every product here, but it has low shine, which is the exact same finish as the Uppercut. They both have shine to them. They both have extremely good hold. I'd say the hold of the Hardmark is definitely better, but the finish is almost exact same. This is a little bit more matte. This is a little bit more shiny. But this was easily my favorite hair product that I used for 10 years straight. And I refuse to use anything else because this was the best in my hair. But that would be a bias to say that because it's my favorite and it's technically not the best here, but it does have the best hold here. But I would still say it's almost exact same as the Uppercut with better hold, but this has the better finish. And you could say these are almost identical products, the Uppercut and the Hardmark. Unless you look at consistency, then the texture of this is a little thicker than that. But yeah, I'm kind of not sure if I should put it in front of Uppercut because this has a slightly better finish with almost exact same hold, almost exact same finish. So I'd say that the Uppercut is still a little better. But that's still the best. Savage Muck's still the best. Hans de Foucault still second best. Uppercut still the third best. So now it's between the Drymark and the Hardmark. And obviously this has the better hold, this has the way better finish, like easily way better finish, way better hold. But it's the texture thing. This is too soft. The texture of this is not good. The texture of this is great. So it comes down, do you want hold and texture or do you want finish? Because this has good hold and good texture, but I'm just going to be a little bit biased here and put the Hardmark in front, just because I really can't really get over the fact that the texture of that's too dry and it's just too hard to put in your hair. And when you've got dry hair like me, you want a little bit of shine in there like the Hardmark gives you. And for my hair type, I would easily put this number one if it was for my hair type only, because this is the perfect for my hair out of all of them. That's the best thing I can buy and use for my hair. But for other people, I don't want to be biased to put this number one, so I'm going to just put this in fourth place. So the top three: Savage Muck, Hans de Foucault, second, first, Uppercut, third, fourth is Hardmark, fifth is Drymark, sixth place V05 Matte Clay, seventh is American Crew, eighth is Rockstar, and in last place you got this really bad Linx styling mode. And yeah, you can test them all out. They might be slightly different for you, but in my opinion, yeah, it was really close between the Hans de Foucault and Savage Muck, and I struggled to put these, like, to figure out which is better, you know. But in the end of it, it came down to the hold, because both of the finishes of these were so good. That's amazing finish, amazing matte finish. Both are great matte products with pretty good hold, but this is just better when it comes to hold, texture and everything, and container size, smell. So the Savage Muck really is the best, but you can't go wrong with Uppercut Clay either. So it really just, you could buy any of the top 6 here, I would say, are all good. And it's only the last 3 that I will just say maybe skip and don't even bother wasting your time with the American Crew. You don't need the American Crew, you don't need the Rockstar, you don't need the Linx. And yeah, so that's about it. And peace.